What's up, guys? It's MamaDeadHead, and I am back with another video. So, Athena is somewhere in the background, but me and Athena, will be talking about predictions for Season 5, Episode 14. Now, I am horrible because I did not write down the name of this episode, which you think I would do, but no, I didn't. It just slipped my mind, but it will be in the title, of course. So, the synopsis, I did write down, I wrote down the synopsis and a full page of notes, but I didn't write down the title of this episode. I believe it's called Today and Tomorrow. I could be wrong. It could be called Channel 5, because I think those are the names of the next two episodes coming out. It's one of the two. So, the synopsis is, an encounter with a survivor sends Al and Morgan on a mission into a dangerous settlement. Al chases a lead while Morgan has an epiphany. Grace and Daniel make a connection. So, I'm going to go in order of how I have things written here. So, number one is the survivor. So, I have seen 2 sneak peeks. I don't believe that the opening minutes have came out yet. I think those come out on Friday, and it's fairly early on Thursday, so I think I have a bit to go on that. And lately here, I haven't been watching it just because I already get the episode on Friday, so it's like, why watch early Friday the opening minutes when I'm just going to watch the entire thing later? So, now it doesn't say dangerous, and I want to specify this because last week really set in motion the whole synopsis and how they word it discussion that I started. And because they said dangerous about this new group, but they never made it seem threatening with Logan's group, I think that we should note that it doesn't say dangerous in this synopsis. So I'm assuming that the survivor that we're talking about is the man that is in the sneak peeks. That's just what makes sense. And he is in both of the sneak peeks that I saw, I believe. And one of them, he's only like a glimpse, but the other one, you get to see him a little bit more. And it seems like he is from the settlement that we just found in the last one. So, it does say, however, Al and Morgan on a mission into a dangerous settlement. So, in the sneak peeks, I'm trying to recall everything in the sneak peeks, but it's really hard when I have ADHD and I'm looking at this and trying to think of everything I was thinking of when I wrote these and think of the sneak peeks at the same time, so I apologize. But, dangerous settlement. Virginia is also in the sneak peek, and it looks like she discovers Al and Morgan. I could be wrong, it could be 2 scenes, but it just kind of seems like one. But it looks like the man is from the dangerous settlement, and the reason that they're going back in is something related to him. Now, Al chases lead. I put dash or slash, whatever this is, CRM question mark, because last week I really thought that this was CRM, but in fact, it's not, at the very least, directly CRM, because they have the symbol of a key. Now, everyone pointed out after the episode that Virginia wore a key on her jacket, like right where her collar was. But also, when Logan was looking at the map, there were little keys all along the map, which makes me think that maybe these are settlements, or maybe these are like outposts that this group has. And what are we calling them? Are they the settlers? Because a lot of people are calling them the settlers. I don't like that. I want something cooler. But anyway, she was in the sneak peek. It looks like they're going to run across this. I don't know if they actually go into it. It doesn't seem like they go into it. They might just run into some people before they get there. And then Morgan's epiphany. What could Morgan's epiphany be? So I wrote down 2 things. I wrote down that he possibly discovers that the reason Al is so, headstrong with going into this place, because it looks like he's very reserved in the sneak peek. It looks like that he maybe the epiphany is he realizes that when Al was out there, she did encounter something. Because whenever she came back and, met up with Morgan and whoever else was there, I can't remember. I think it was Alicia or, a few more people. it really seemed like they knew something had happened, but they weren't going to ask her about it. So could that be the epiphany? Or the second one, this is kind of what I want it to be, that could it be about Grace, that he really wants to be there for her and like regrets going out on this mission without? Like maybe he has this epiphany that, holy crap, I could die right now, and this woman doesn't know how I feel about her. That's what I'm hoping. So what could Grace and Daniel have in common? What could they possibly have in common? I hope that it's not something tragic, but I feel like it's definitely going to be something tragic. Like, she's on borrowed time. He came back to Ophelia on borrowed time. That's what kind of makes me think that maybe Morgan's epiphany is going to be about Grace, because it could be like a setup of, I'm slowly dying, like my condition is getting worse, and I didn't come out and say how I felt about him. So I need to find him. Where is he? That's what I'm hoping for. And then 6 I have a skid mark. I love skid mark. Skid mark's great. And skid mark is going to be in this episode, so I'm happy. The next thing that I have written down is anybody else in this episode. So we definitely see Grace, Daniel, skid mark, and it kind of makes it seem like they're going to be the smaller portion of the episode. And then we see Al, Morgan, the new guy that we don't know his name, at least I don't think we know his name, and Virginia. But we don't see anybody else besides these people. Now, in the past couple episodes, there have been like little flashes or like calls over the walkie. So I think that we could definitely get some of that. But because we saw so much of them in this previous episode, I think that it's just going to be the people that we didn't see essentially in this one, aside from Virginia. So then, this part. This is a loaded bit. Oh, I didn't notice that Rosa was right behind me. So, is Virginia and company villains? And good and bad being very subjective things. You guys know that I kind of lean more towards villain, because I think villains are cool. But there's this big talk of, are they really villains? To me, if we're comparing, they seem like Crawford from Telltale. That's what they really seem like. I know that I've heard a lot of, oh, they're like the Saviors, but Saviors was just all about themselves and like, give me what I want it now, gimme, and like bowing to Negan, and I don't really get that feel from Virginia. So I don't think she's like a Lady Negan, and I don't think that this group is like the Saviors. I think that people are going to be mad at me for this. I think they're better. I think this is what the Saviors could have been that would be more terrifying, because we just saw them straight up slaughter a whole group of people if they weren't, what she wanted them to be. She wasn't even going to like train them for a different position. If they didn't fill this one, they're gone. Negan would never do that. He would kill like 1 or 2 to make a point, but then he would make you work for him. So I don't think that they're really similar at all, other than like having a strict like rule of how things go. But that's about, like, a lot of groups have that. Crawford was essentially like a survival of the fittest, which really seems like how this new group is coming across. Are they bad? I lean to say that they're villains. I mean, they can be pushing the world forward, but you can be pushing the world forward and like gaining people and still be a villainous group. So I don't think that by any means, just because they're looking towards the future, that they're not villains, because they definitely so could be. So, death predictions. I have written down, it cannot be Al, June, Grace, or Morgan. And I know that June is probably not even in this episode, but I wrote her down just because they're in the next synopsis. And I think that's the only one that has a synopsis. I don't know if that's the finale or if the next one after is the finale, because I think that it ends with 16, but I could be wrong. But I don't have a synopsis for that, if that is a dated episode. But yeah, maybe Daniel or Skidmark. And out of these two, I would probably lean Skidmark, which is awful to think about. But if someone from our group were to die, since the other ones are already in the next synopsis, they can't. So the only ones that weren't mentioned that are going to be in this episode and the next one were Daniel and Skidmark. So then the last two things, with this new group having keys, I've been thinking that they might not be CRM, but they could be like a set of them, if that makes sense. Maybe CRM is quite large and they sent out this group to settle this area. I think that they're definitely connected in some way, but I can't really place how at the moment. That's just what I'm feeling right now. It might change in the next episode, but I think that they're just like a different section of CRM. And it's mainly because of the keys. If it wasn't because of the keys showing up on the map and her blazer, jacket, whatever she had on, then I would really think that they're CRM, other than not having the like fighting jacket that Isabel had. But yeah, last but not least, I do want to dedicate at least a minute of my time for Rest in Peace Logan. Not his group, because I didn't like his group, but Rest in Peace Logan. Because I said for a few weeks now, maybe even longer than that, ever since Logan really came into the picture, I've said he was a terrible villain. And I didn't really mean it in a bad way, it's just that it's like he was bumbling around and didn't really know how to be a villain. Which made me think, and I said this so many times, he feels like a Gavin type from the Saviors. Because Gavin was really upset when Benjamin died. Gavin always seemed to like understand, but he was like, I'm basically in the situation, so gotta do what I gotta do. And I got that feeling from Logan, especially when a couple times there were little hints of his group turning against him. Especially like in the first episode that he's in, that he like rolls up and takes the factory. The one girl, Doris, I can never remember her name. She was like, I thought you said it'd be here. And they were all like, they were tense. It was like a really tense moment. So it made me think that this was just like a thing. Now, it was confirmed that he is essentially a Gavin type, even less than Gavin in my opinion. He hadn't even been a bad guy that long. We're talking about whenever Sarah and Wendell came into our story, everything with Polar Bear had just happened. Now, I did find it funny watching like some of the compilation that Skybound puts out, and then watching some reactors, and they're like, they killed Polar Bear? Like, when did this happen? I'm like, does nobody watch what's going on? Like, these are really small details that you really have to pay attention to. You can't, this is why whenever I react now, I'm not like dissing reactors or anything, because I miss stuff all the time, but that's why I watch the episode twice. Once to react to it, and once in case I missed anything, and here recently it's been 3 times, and the third so that I can, write down stuff about the episode, but at least twice, at the very least twice, because, like, if you're talking and you're reacting, you don't know what you're missing, and this was a big, clear, like, evidence of some people only watch it and react once, which is fine, but you will miss things if you do that. Like I said, I've missed things. And people immediately tell me if I put up their reaction. And most of the time I'm like, I know, like I watched it like 4 more times and I realized that I missed this like really big thing. Especially the circle thing. I had no idea. No clue. And even watching it back, the only reason I knew was because people told me. Because I didn't pay attention to the circles in both, I don't know. But Logan essentially was a bad guy for as long as we've had Sarah and Wendell, which isn't that long. It's not like that big of a time span that we've had Sarah and Wendell. So he was really thrust into this, and since we don't know a lot about this key group, who's to say that he wasn't like really, really forced into this? Like, he obviously didn't have a choice. They killed him when he became unessential. So, I don't know. I lean more towards he was just a good guy that was caught up in some bad stuff. And Virginia did say, what was it that she said? Essentially that he just couldn't be trusted, that he would have like turned on them, which I don't know, is that good or bad? we need to learn more about this group. But rest in peace, Logan, because honestly, I'm kind of sad now that he's gone, learning about his story and what he went through and just all of it. It's sad. But thank you guys for watching this video. These are my predictions. I'm going to be watching it tomorrow, so I'm nervous. I'm nervous just because of who's in it, because I love them so much, and I know that, you know, most of them make it out because they are in the next episode. But am I nervous for what's going to happen to the people that are not in the synopsis? And am I nervous for just what is going to happen to the people in this episode? Even if they survive, it could be bad. Okay, that's going to be all for this. Athena, do you want to say bye? Come here. You just have like a little random bag. Come here. Say bye.
Bye.
Come over here.
What?
Bye.
Mike.
What?
Mom.
Camera? Phone?
Mama.
Yeah, that's my mom.
Mimi.
Baby, that's you, baby.
Huh?
That's a controller. Alright, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like always, think positive thoughts and send positive vibes.
Hi.
Hi. I love you. Bye, guys.